Hello, 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 my loves. It's Kimberly. It's your astrologer friend, Kimberly, here with the week's astrology. Looking ahead to next week, we're thinking about Monday, July 27th through to Sunday, the 2nd of August. We are officially in Leo season. I am so sorry that I missed last week's video update. I was a mess. Sometimes the days just go by and I don't do these videos and I don't get my ass in gear. And then life gets lifey. I was not able to show up. And I also had this thought on my mind of how when I first discovered astrology, well, not when I first, but when I'd been practicing a few years, I had so much enthusiasm to share astrology on a by minute basis. I was sharing, like, it's Leo season on Instagram. I used to post every single day. This was pre-COVID. And now I feel like one of the elders. I'm an elder millennial, and I certainly feel like one of the elders because all these transits just go by and I don't even acknowledge them, which is so bad. But because I write daily horoscopes, I feel like I'm constantly tracking and logging and seeing what's going on. And of course, I speak to my clients one on one and have personal conversations about their chart and what's going on in their lives. And I have a community and friendships and family members. So I'm looking at a lot of things that are going on, but I'm not very active on social media. And when I do post on social media, it will be about something really random, like the Pan Am flight that just got rediscovered. So I was pulling up the Pan Am chart for when the aeroplane went down in San Juan, Puerto Rico, which then made me think about the song that is trending on Instagram and how basically, like, yeah, I'm just not present on there. So, apologies if you would love an astrologer who posts every day about everything that's going on, including Barbelt's basket. Of course, I am aware of this configuration. I wouldn't say opinions on it, but like I'm tuned into it. I just am not necessarily showing up minute by minute, breath by breath, talking about everything. Yes, it's Leo season, and part of me thinks, oh, I should make a post about how it's Leo season. And then the other half of me is like, let me get on with other things that are kind of not necessarily more important, because maybe it is important to have that social media presence. Anyway, I'm waffling, but you get what my gist is basically I feel like one of the older astrologers who's kind of already been there and done that. In fact, like the whole premise of my website, Star Sign Style, was all about sharing. So I have these posts like top 5 things to do in Leo season where I've added these gorgeous images and, royalty free, of course, due diligence, and I've basically like come up with 5 things to do in Leo season. But like, do I share those things nowadays? No, I'm just like skipping over so much of the inherent knowledge that I've already gained, and I'm sorry that I don't take the time to share that. Anyway, maybe I should do a post about it, but the chances are I'm probably not going to. Anyway, what I am going to do is go through the week's astrology with you here and share my screen with you as I always do. Me in the background, the chart as the foreground. The chart is the most important thing that we're looking at. And to let you know what we are looking at this week, we have got the full moon in Aquarius, and at the same time as the full moon is in Aquarius, Venus squares Mars. We've got the North Node entering Aquarius. That's like a double Aquarian theme. Even though the North Node's entering Aquarius, it's not an eclipse this week. We're waiting for August to start till we start eclipse season. We could feel like the intensity is ramping up though. And as you can tell, I was feeling the intensity last week, hence my radio silence, just like unable, guys, unable to function. Let's be honest. So, full moon, Venus square Mars, and the Sun conjunct Jupiter and Leo. And weirdly, or coincidentally, all 3 of those events are happening at the same time. So astrology is so weird and wonderful, and the timing is just immaculate. And yeah, those three things are happening. But let's go through day by day, hour by hour, a little bit of like what's going on this week in the stars. So if we start kind of like very late on Sunday night, the latest of the late, just before midnight, literally here, you will see that the North Node is in Pisces. And we get this ticking over of the North Node entering Aquarius Monday morning, very early hours. So 1:48 in the morning, the North Node will enter Aquarius. The moon is still in Capricorn at that time. So the moon isn't happy in Capricorns. We have this Capricorn moon start to the week. So it's not a particularly, you know, jump in, pop in start to the week. It's like a dour start to the week. However, we've got that shift to acknowledge. Then you can see what's going on over here in Leo, which is the sun at 5 degrees creeping closer to the planet Jupiter, planet of luck, planet of abundance, planet of generosity, wisdom, knowledge, expansion. Jupiter is the jumbo jet planet. It's the Santa Claus of the cosmos, and it is the planet that is delivering its gifts to us, or pressing the supersize me, the expand button on a different area of our life, depending what's happening for us personally, given this transit of Jupiter in Leo. So if you're a Leo, that Jupiter is going to connect with your sun. Also, if you're a Taurus, if you're a Scorpio, or if you're an Aquarius, Jupiter will tensely combine with your sun, and so on and so forth. I've done a Jupiter in Leo horoscope, but here you can see this very important, significant day that we have, because the moon enters Aquarius just about there, enters Aquarius at 2:47 a.m. on Wednesday, and the sun is conjunct Jupiter. We can really consider that it's conjunct Jupiter all week, but the exact moment is as the full moon is coming to perfection. So sun meets Jupiter at 1:18 on Wednesday, and the full moon is at 3:30. 3:36. So that is an incredible moment. Let me just also point out ahead of that, what we do have with the moon in Capricorn is moon in Capricorn opposing Mercury. So the reason I'm rewinding and pointing that out is because Mercury in Cancer is answering to the moon. It's governed and responding to the moon. So I've written in your horoscopes a little bit of a touch on that in terms of, what Mercury now direct in Cancer is going to be helping you to process and think about. And then conversely, what the moon in Capricorn is drawing us towards. There's a seesaw because of that opposition in the stars. Mercury in Cancer, moon in opposite sign, Capricorn, a bit of a tussle, a bit of a push-pull. And as I said, the moon, when it's in Capricorn, is in its sign of detriment. It's in its domicile sign in Cancer, it's in its detriment in Capricorn, and therefore it is not comfy, cozy. It is uncomfortable on hard, rocky ground. It's like parking your bum on a rock. Have you ever been hiking and it's lunchtime and you've had to like sit down and park on a rock? That's what it feels like. So we may be speaking about a comfy chair, purchasing something really wonderful and comfy, but the reality is we're actually in harder terrain. So we could be having hard conversations, quite frankly, at that point. Nevertheless, before we know it, we are in that window of the full moon, which of course is felt on the run up anyway. God, I don't know. I talk a lot, do I? I really labor every bloody point, don't I? Going on and on. Anyway, this full moon in Aquarius, what are we saying about it? It is conjunct Pluto, guys. It is clearly, as you can see, in the arms of Pluto. Pluto is the planet of kidnap, control, manipulation, death. And I have noticed over the years, as I track everything and track the full moon and so on and so forth, that there could be within our communities, within our collective, news stories of death, news and coming out of, thinking potentially there is going to be someone in your group, someone in your network, or someone in society that dies at this time because Pluto is just that planet. And the reason I say that is because I hold back sometimes on my, I don't want to say predictions, but like the way that I sometimes speak about astrology, I hold back because I don't want to like tell it like it is. I do like to sweet talk the stars because I have Mercury in Taurus. I want to tell you, the good and positive things. However, I think it's time to start being more calling a spade a spade. Pluto, as I said, is this very, very deep, transformative, potent planet that packs a punch and represents not endings and finality. That's more a Saturnian thing about borders and structure and long-term plans. Pluto is just more that, you know, sticky tar that is, produced deep within us. So it's, like our psychological, process and fears as well. So definitely something confronting, potentially being touched upon at this full moon. As I say, we've now got the North Node in Aquarius, and Pluto there is only at 4 degrees, and the North Node is at 29. So I really feel like this is a sandwich, like the whole of the sign is being honed and occupied by this full moon, even though the full moon's at like 6 degrees, but it feels like we're really like honing in. But at the same time, we've got that lucky, generous, you know, sun in its domicile sign, the kingdom of Leo, the lion's den. Jupiter, golden and resplendent and expansive in Jupiter as well. This is really a boom, a real like bolstering of that area of the chart. As well as that, we've also got Neptune at 4 degrees, Uranus at 4 degrees, Pluto at 4 degrees. This is Barbell's basket, the bread basket. This is what everybody's talking about astrologically, is this configuration of, you can see here, these blue lines creating a basket. A little bit tilted there, but still, maybe it's more like a basket that's like fallen on its side, and little Virgo Venus there is like, you know, an apple that's rolled across the table. Anyway, this is why August is such a mammoth, crazy game changer of a month. It is huge, like as in unprecedented stuff. So we've been rolling and rolling and rolling towards this. And how are you feeling? Like, are you feeling like there's some stuff shifting, taking place? I really feel like with eclipse season rolling in August, we are going to be in new territory, or, experiencing a vehicle that takes us into new spaces. So this full moon is very much touching on that at that 6 degree mark. It is so playing into it. It could almost be like if we suspect something's been happening, this could be the moment that really shines the light, confirming our suspicions or our instincts around our intuition around what's happening. There is still quite a lot of stuff retrograde at the in this chart as well, though. We've still got Pluto retrograde, Saturn and Neptune retrograde, and Uranus will retrograde too. Also to mention, during this full moon, Venus and Mars are square. Venus is Aphrodite in, ancient myth. Mars is Ares. These are the two astrological lovebirds, but this doesn't feel romantic because Venus in Virgo is again in a sign of fall. Venus is not happy in Virgo because Virgo is very tightly wound, very astute and fastidious. That doesn't mean if you're a Virgo that you're not still attractive, that you're not still beautiful and able to indulge and feel good about life. But it does mean that the qualities of Virgo, which is perfectionism and diligence, doesn't necessarily make Venus feel at ease. Venus, if she's having to be perfect, is going to turn towards the surgeon's knife, or the makeup box to preen and prune. So Venus is in Virgo there, not feeling particularly her best self. And Mars in Gemini is coming into, well, it's in that square formation here. So that spells tension, really, really frictious energy, like not necessarily easy energy. Plus, we've also got Chiron forming a T square with the full moon. So Chiron's at 0 degrees of Taurus. This is a fixed T square. So Aquarius is fixed, Leo is fixed, and Chiron in Taurus is fixed too. So it could be some really uncomfortable, painful things, situations that are coming up here at this full moon. Maybe it's the painful situations that will facilitate change and growth, although I don't suspect so, seeing as these are the fixed signs. I think it will be more of like an endurance test to like see how much we can, you know, kind of see how much we can tolerate. And I do have written quite a few times whenever I'm, commenting on this, I'm saying that Aquarius is technology, the masses, its audiences, its online networks. And Leo is the star, is the influencer, is the king, is the person who's gaining attention as an individual. The star is very much ego, the sun is ego rather. The sun is, presence and charisma and creativity. And to me, it feels like the individual, the person who has consciousness, the solar power, is coming up against this influx of awareness around technology. The fact that we have Uranus plugging into this and Mars in Gemini popping off really feels like a lot of the technological advancements that we're seeing are being, really highlighted as a conversational piece here. Like I myself have been thinking so much about AI and about, even on this Substack, they have this new technology that basically they filter everything through an AI. Now, I don't want them doing that for my work because I don't want them training their computer systems on my work. I write so many words and I don't want them plagiarizing my stuff and basically using you know, my tone of voice to like inform they're bots. I'm sure I'm not high on the agenda in terms of what they're scrolling through, but I want to turn that thing off because I'm just like, I don't want it training on my words, you know? So it's definitely a cause for concern for a writer like me. And yeah, it's just crazy. But at the same time, I'm also AI proofing myself, picking up other skills, and also, you know, I've actually had an argument with AI with back and forth, and it gets a lot of astrology wrong. So I did tell it off. I told it off. I was like, you shouldn't be like quoting yourself as knowing Valens and all these historical astrologers when you're not getting the basics right. So it's only a matter of time, though, before AI does really learn, the facts. So it's the astrologers, thankfully, can synthesize things and make things really clear and also fact check. But yeah, it's probably coming for my job. So let's see what happens. I'm not worried about it because I do think that I'm okay, but it's interesting to think where everything's going. And again, this Pluto fear of online spaces, fear of how they put children's images so freely online, and all that kind of stuff. Leo being playful, childlike energy, Aquarius being online spaces. Anyhow, that is the sort of main hallmark of this week, the full moon. So we'll just bring it right forward to the exact full moon moment, which is exact at 3:36 p.m. on Wednesday. For those in London time, that will be the time. So if you are having plans on Wednesday, know that the full moon energies are going to be super high at that time. As I say, the Venus Mars square is exact during the full moon. The Sun Jupiter conjunction is exact during the full moon. So it really is all about that. We then have the moon meeting the North Node for the very first time the next day in Aquarius. So we can just see here, this moment where the moon gets to meet the North Node. So I think that's a really poignant fact that it's not just about that full moon on Wednesday. We really still have the energies in play right up until about 1 o'clock on Friday. Then the moon enters Pisces, which kind of spells a bit more of a lucid, easy Friday night energy and also Saturday. And then early hours of Sunday morning, the moon will trine Mercury and oppose Venus in Virgo. So that gives a really interesting energy to work with as well on the Sunday, depending on what your zodiac sign is, what your rising sign is. Always read your horoscopes for your rising and for your sun. But that configuration, it almost finishes off. I mean, it doesn't because the eclipses aren't finished, in Pisces, Virgo for some time yet. We still have, I think it's next year, we still have a final penultimate eclipse in the Pisces zodiac sign. But this kind of has a flavor of it. And the reason I say that is because we've just had, since 2011, Neptune going through Pisces. And, the Pisces moon opposite Virgo, it still speaks to that kind of energy. So, yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. I know I've done a lot of waffling just then about general chit chat and not really keeping on topic of the astrology so much, but I am considering doing a weekly sign by sign forecast. So please give me a thumbs up if you think that's a good idea. I will keep way more on topic, perhaps, because it's all about delivering these days, isn't it? Like it's all about getting the information across, and no one just wants to hear me waffling on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Or do you? No, I'm sure you don't. But yeah, thinking of doing a week by week astrology, a sign by sign, so that you can be a lot more aware and tuned in. I just have to get myself organized and set up for it. And for me, it really depends on how I'm feeling as well. Cancer rising, I am not necessarily well regulated all the time. I always get my work done, but I'm not always able to show up face forward, like engaged. And I mean, I'm a very happy person most of the time, but like sometimes I'm just not able to like be face to camera with like a fun, friendly, fun face on, happy face on, because I am not feeling happy and fun. But today I am. So long may it last through Leo season. And I am available for consultations, but not during August because I have a lot of work on. I'm doing a project and I'm not going to be available, but I'm still working on my course that I'm doing, and that has got some little bit of momentum around it. So look forward to that. If you do need a reading, just let me know. I'm also available just on the end of the phone. So, friends, family, everyone, I'm still around to answer any questions. Big hugs for now.